Play closes tonight.
3 years. JJ says it could run another year, but he won't replace me. No one else can do it, he says.
I'm sure JJ's right. And as your doctor, I must say it makes me very happy. Give you and David time to get away. It's very important that you do.
How can you get any further away than Hollywood? As soon as I finish this matinee, I'm meeting JJ in my apartment. 1 hour later, I meet with Mr. Albert Ratner in David's office and sign a contract for 2 pictures.
Marion, I've known you a long time.
I love you too, darling. But turn down $350,000 for 8 months' work, not very likely.
You can't work that long.
Is this some kind of a lecture on how run down I am? If it is, don't make it. You prescribed the change of scenery. All right, I'm changing. 3,000 miles worth.
You can't leave this behind. And it won't change. You have a brain tumor.
Tumor? An operation?
The condition's not operable.
I can't believe that. I can't believe it. This is the greatest chance I've ever... You didn't mean that, did you? When you said I couldn't work for 8 months.
Marion, you won't live that long.
Insight. Stories of spiritual conflict in the 20th century. Insight.
I wish I could tell you that every moment of every day of your lives was going to be rich and full and free of pain. I wish I could, but I can't. Life just isn't that way. Not for me, not for you, not for anyone. You're incomplete. So am I. We have to go outside ourselves for the happiness we desire. You love other people, and they love you. And yet you remain separate from them. This makes you lonely. You can control your own actions. Sometimes you use this power very well. Sometimes you don't. When you don't, you feel guilt. Incompleteness, loneliness, guilt. These are not pleasant emotions, but they are part of being a human being. Because they're not pleasant, we sometimes try to turn them off. This is very natural, but it isn't healthy, and it doesn't work. To run from anxiety is to increase it. To turn and face anxiety, to learn to live with it, is to take the pathway to personal fulfillment and freedom.
I don't believe any of this. I feel fine.
And why did you come to see me?
Because I had a headache. I've had headaches all my life. When my Uncle Bill was 36, they told him he only had 6 months to live. Tuberculosis or something. We used to talk about it all the time. He was almost 81 when he died. There are a lot of things you doctors don't know.
That's true. Sometimes a disease will reverse its course for no reason we know of. Spontaneous remission.
An act of God. Well, Mama's God of love has finally caught up with me. She wouldn't understand it, but she would accept it. She would accept it and carry it gratefully.
Marion, would you like me to talk to David?
I don't need a marriage counselor. What I need is a doctor. If you'll excuse me, I have to do a show.
You better listen to me. You've got to understand what I'm trying to tell you.
I don't need a psychiatrist either.
Marion, when you don't want to hear something, you just turn people off. Well, you can't turn this off. You've got to prepare for it. You'll need David's help, and you'll need mine.
I don't need anyone's help. I was born on the 4th floor of a tenement. My father carried a hod when he worked, and Mama loved God and all the burdens he sent her. She expected a lot of me, way, way too much. So when I was 15, I left home. And I haven't needed anyone's help since then. And I don't need anyone's help now.
Marion. I know it's terrible to hear what I've just told you, but it's also very difficult to try to tell someone. Death is a part of life, and you have a right to know. You can use that knowledge.
Who needs a closing notice?
Everyone dies, Marion.
I don't intend to lie down and die. I intend to fight it.
Fine, fight all you can, but don't try to kid yourself. Don't pretend you're fighting when all you're really doing is running away.
Well, now, your conscience is clear, isn't it? You can't cure me, but you have told me how very difficult it was to tell me I'm going to die. I don't think you're much of a doctor, and I don't believe you.
I don't know. I still can't believe that we're really closing tonight. You know, this play has been a real money machine. It's not like you, Marion, to turn it off. Not even for Hollywood, not even for Albert Ratner.
But it's simple, darling. The price was right.
No? Well, at least that sounds like the Marion I used to know.
No bitter tears.
You're right. I'm mature enough to be able to forget the past, but, you know, there still is something special between us.
And we've got the box office records to prove it.
No, I mean something much more than that. We've got a relationship that's grown. From the time that you came to me from Ratner after his last flop that cost you your job and your boyfriend.
I walked out on both of them.
Well, you were still just an awkward nothing.
I
know, with talent as wide as your need. Luckily, I was able to shape that talent.
Any complaints?
Not at all. But you know, there are always thousands of girls ready to pay the price. Of course, you had the talent to know how to make the most of it.
So we used each other.
Yeah. I never flattered myself that I was anything more than a step up for you. Well, I will say in all modesty, it was a giant step up. I can't think of your going back to Ratner as anything other than a step down.
JJ, why do you keep saying that? I'm not going back to Ratner. I am accepting a lucrative offer from an important film producer.
Mm-hmm. Does David know about you and Ratner?
Oh, he knows that we used to work together. I don't think he... What difference does it make?
Well, maybe none at all. Only it occurs to me that you're going 3,000 miles away to arrange the same kind of a situation you had when you were first married, with you and your husband and me.
You know, I always wondered why Mama never saw you as a step up from Ratner. My father said learning about you killed her long before she died. I wonder why Mama never turned against me. She'd always look at me with those sad, sad eyes. Now my father, he caught me in a lie when I was 6 or 7 years old, washed my mouth out with soap, and I'll never forget it. This takes care of the outside, but there's something dirty growing inside you. As it turns out, he was right.
What do you mean?
If Mama had just said that to me, just once, how much easier it would have made all this. I still don't get your insistence on some ulterior motive on what is really only a good business deal.
Come on, Marion. I've had a lot of experience watching you manipulate people. Oh, sure, you and I used each other, that's right, but you've used everybody.
Surely you didn't come over here just to insult me. And your facts are a little fuzzy. I've never used David.
No? Well, maybe you've got another word for it. But 2 years ago, David was a successful lawyer, wasn't he? Well, lawyer meets famous stage star. Stage star just happens to need lawyer to handle her tangled business affairs. Lawyer and actress marry. Lawyer gives up his own lucrative practice to manage star's career, during the course of which, whether he knows or not, he comes into daily contact with men out of her past. Now, do you mean to tell me you haven't used David?
It was David's idea to manage me. And I would love to hear some more kind words out of you, J.J., but you're late.
Oh. Do you think that Mama would have approved of David?
Sorry to keep you waiting so long. She should have been here half an hour ago. Look, if you'd rather, I can bring these over to the hotel later.
No, that's not necessary, David.
I'm sure it's no trouble. Well, here she
Oh,
is.
my dears. I'm so sorry to be late. Albert, how marvelous to see you again, looking so prosperous and so eager to share it with us.
Hello, Marion. You look even more beautiful. I'm glad that you and your husband have decided to let me make you rich.
JJ sends his love. Oh, he wants to see you after the show.
Honey.
Hello, my dear. Well, I hope you haven't let him beat you down, even though he did give me my first film many years ago.
It's a very generous contract.
It's worth it. And it's only the beginning. Oh, I brought the new script with all the revisions you wanted. It's being typed up now. You'll have it tonight.
Oh, good.
You sign here, dear, where it's marked. Yeah. Albert wants to buy us a drink after the show to celebrate.
Oh, how marvelous. We must have JJ come along.
Marion.
Oh, hello, JJ.
Hi, you were magnificent. You were just brilliant and magnificent.
Thank you, my dear.
No hard feelings?
No hard feelings.
Good. Listen, I saw David and Ratner out front. They'll be coming back in a minute, and so will the mob. Here is the manuscript of your next hit play. Now, this is designed to wipe out the shame of movie commercialism. It's a great part, Marion. It's just made for you.
The kind of money I'm getting is not commercialism, darling. It's high finance.
Well, good luck.
I can't get hurt. I have complete script approval. David saw to that.
Oh?
All right, JJ. In 5,000 words or less.
Well, do you have any idea how many scripts I read before I find one that suits you? I cut the material, I fit it to you, I even make the buttonholes myself. You tried doing that for yourself?
Darling, if you think the public is interested in how much time you spend reading at nights, why don't you write a book?
Yeah. Well, maybe this trip will be a good idea after all. Maybe you'll learn that your flight to stardom wasn't a solo. Oh, I know the people come to see you because they're attracted by the glitter. But try to remember that I'm the one who fit and polished that diamond. I'm the one who put you in that setting. Don't make the mistake of thinking that you can ever go it alone, or that you ever have.
That's the only way there is, JJ. I don't know any other way. Besides, I've already signed the contract. I couldn't do anything about it if I wanted to, which I don't.
Well, I guess, Marion, the thing that I'm really afraid of is that you might get to like it out there.
Marion, my darling, you were wonderful. They didn't want to let you go. I feel like a thief taking you away from all this.
We're all going out for a drink, JJ. Join us?
No, thank you. I've had mine, and besides, I don't care for wakes.
Well, now, you don't mind if I look a little theatrical, do you? I'll just quickly change my clothes.
Hello. No, there's David. Hello, Doctor. How are you?
I'll take it. Hello? Oh, yes. No, of course I didn't. I'm sorry. We're running a little late. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for calling. I had a checkup from Dr. Marsh yesterday. He wants to make sure I eat lots of green vegetables, get my vitamins, get a tan.
I'll see to it personally. You know, after a year on the coast, you'll be so healthy, none of your fans will recognize you.
There, I look like the bride of Frankenstein.
Take it easy, darling.
Take it easy. coffee. That's all anybody does around here. Somebody's got to stay awake.
Well, thanks, fellas. George, see you on the set?
Script approval. Big deal. We should have had cameraman approval.
George is the best cameraman in Hollywood. He's reshot that scene 4 times. I don't know what else you could ask for.
Well, have him do it 14 times or 40. I don't expect miracles. I don't need a miracle.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, all right. Albert's on his way down.
What does he want?
I don't know. But I know what I want. I want you to stop screaming at everybody.
Then who's going to do my screaming for me? You? I wish I'd never let you get me into this.
All right, I'll talk to George. We'll try it again.
Is it so difficult to make a good picture of me? And that director is like somebody out of a penny arcade.
That's what you said about the first director. This man is
Whose
your choice.
side are you on?
Marion, I'm for you. I wish you would be. There's only one side to this. Everybody wants to make a good picture, but your screaming fits are just too much.
That's enough, thank you. I don't want you to show respect for me as your wife, but you're supposed to be managing an actress, a star. This film goes out this way, it'll destroy me. I didn't spend all of my life working so that some crummy...
Well, how do you feel today?
How do you expect me to feel? I thought we'd reached a new low in dailies last week, but this is a new all-time low.
I saw them.
I won't approve any of those scenes.
No, neither will I.
And what do you propose to do about them?
Let's talk about your next picture.
My next picture? I wish you'd never gotten me into this one.
So do I.
Albert, I think maybe you and I should sit down in your office and,
I think you two have had enough private discussions. Anything you have to say about me can be said right here.
I really don't think there's anything to talk about.
What do you mean by that?
You're unhappy with the picture? We're unhappy with the picture.
Unhappy with the picture? I won't rest until I know every foot of that film has been burned.
Well, then, if it's mutually agreeable, I'll be very happy to tear up your contract.
Now, just a minute.
If you'd care to look at the sequences we've already cut, I'd be very happy to run them for you. I think that ought to help you make up your mind.
My mind is made up. Or do we need a conference to settle that?
Look, Marion, I no longer have any emotion about you, but neither do I have any animosity. It was simply a bad deal. And we'd rather take our beating now than pour any more money down the drain.
Down the drain? You give me an impossible script, a stupid director and a no-talent cameraman, and you expect me to run a training school on the set?
Marion, I think we should sit down with Albert in his office.
You sit down and talk to him. You two seem to have plenty to say to each other. Consider the contract canceled.
David, I'll prepare the papers.
Marion.
JJ was right. You're only trying to make money out of me. I should have listened to him. I don't mean the play. It's beautiful. I just don't want some off-Broadway director, not for this one.
Marion, why don't you let me worry about these problems, huh? Although I know now you have all that Hollywood experience behind you.
Please don't be nasty. This is not just important. It has to be the most successful thing I've done. It has to.
I have nothing against success, you know that. That's why I try to hire the people that I think are best qualified for the jobs. That's the function of a producer in the legitimate theater.
No lectures, please.
All right, no lecture, maybe a little advice, huh? You worry about your performance. You worry about you. You look terrible. I'm sorry. Why don't you go away someplace, unwind, slow down, get some sleep. You're acting as though you're ready to jump out of your skin. And what is this non-stop coffee cigarette routine? Is that something that you picked up in Hollywood?
Please don't mention that name. When I untied myself from that contract, I closed that door forever.
Marion, I think if I were your father, now I'd have to wash out your mouth with soap and water. You see, I know what happened to your contract. Ratner called me.
He's such a lovely person.
No, he's all right. But that bit about untying yourself from the contract and closing the door, you know, that's That's familiar. That's the same line you gave me when you first came to me from Ratner. Well, that's 100 years ago. Do you know what suddenly occurs to me? You lied to me then. He untied himself from you.
I hope you know what you're talking about. I don't.
Marion, you know I love you. But you've got the guts of a burglar. Oh, David, come in. You just missed the fine reading.
Reading?
Yeah. Well, Marion, do you mean to tell me you didn't even tell your own manager?
Tell me what?
I'm going to do a play, David.
Yeah, we were thinking of going to rehearsal next week.
You knew I was trying to rent that cabin today. You were going to take a long rest. We'd spend some time together in Maine. Or did I dream all that?
That was your idea. What I need is to get back on the stage.
Marion, why don't you do what David suggests, huh? You're very tired. The play will still be here.
We can have the place next week. I spoke to the caretaker.
Well, I can't go.
Why didn't you tell me about this deal? Why'd you lie to me?
Because I knew you'd make a scene. JJ knows what I need. You don't.
And all this time I thought I could help you. I felt like I'm trying to save our marriage and you're trying to destroy it. The same crazy way you'd like to destroy yourself, too.
I'll tell you what destroys me. Carrying people around who don't accomplish anything on their own. Do you recognize anybody?
I gave up a law practice to manage you. Who's using whom?
Did you hear about the marvelous job he did for me on the coast?
Marion, you keep it straight, will you? Ratner told me that was your unreasonable tantrums that
You
made you
won't listen
impossible.
to anybody. You won't let anybody near you.
Just as long as they come to the box office, baby. That's close enough for me. I don't need anybody. All I need is a good script.
Ever since you made me close that play, you've been behaving like a spoiled little girl had something taken away from her. Nobody's been able to approach you for 6 months, Marion. Why don't you get off the treadmill now? The script will still be here.
I'm an actress. I should rest and lose a part.
You're in no condition. And as long as I'm your manager, I'll do everything I can to keep you out of it.
I am tired of you telling me what I can't do. I can get a new manager.
And you can get a new husband, too.
How can I feel so sorry for somebody who doesn't need anybody?
Thank you for coming back.
I went to see Dr. Marsh. I knew something was wrong. Why couldn't you tell me?
Because it's sick and ugly and dirty. You couldn't love me that way.
I married you. I love you.
You don't know me.
Don't I?
Not what I'm really like. Not inside. You don't know how I've used people. How do you think
I'm concerned with what you are, not what you did. If you're talking about JJ and the others, of course I knew.
You knew?
It's a small town.
Oh, I've given you such a bad time.
You let me complain for myself.
David, I'm scared.
Good. The wall's coming down.
I don't mean of dying. I don't mean of pain. I mean what comes after. I keep seeing Mama with her sad, disappointed eyes. I don't want to see Mama. I can't.
Maybe if you and I together take care of it now, then there's no need to be scared of the after.
I have a month. 2 at the most. There's very little now left for me.
Well, then we mustn't waste any of it.
I wonder why Mama was just sad about me. My father knew right off I was no good.
Man, I don't know, but they're gone. I am here. I am not your father nor your mother. I am me, David, your husband. And don't you ever forget it.
Will you hold me? I've always felt like I had to keep running. I can't run anymore. Do you think I could ever learn to be me?
Well, that sounds like a beautiful role.
But do I have time to learn the part?
You can't miss. You were made for it.
David. I'm going to cry.
That's you.
Sooner or later, each of us must, like Marion, face up to the painful aspects of being a human being. The sooner we do so, the richer, the fuller our lives can become. Once we have accepted our own incompleteness, we will be able to turn outside ourselves to that being who alone can give us completion and fulfillment. Once we've accepted our own loneliness, we may be more inclined to open ourselves to that person who loves us as no other and who can make us one with all other men. Once we have accepted our own guilt, we can then turn to that person who loves us despite our sins. He wants nothing more than the opportunity to reconcile us to his friendship. If you have not accepted your own incompleteness, loneliness, and guilt, you will not be able to face up to death. It will cause you great fear. But if you have accepted the painful aspects of being a human being, you will be able to face death with confidence. It will be for you not the end, but the beginning, the vestibule of eternity, the gateway to glory.
Insight is a production of the Paulist Fathers, a group of Catholic priests who serve their God by serving those outside their church.